Hello everyone, my name is Kitetsu and welcome back to my channel. I'm actually re-recording this video as I usually do because I ranted and ranted for ages. It gets to the point where it's actually quicker for me to just re-record the whole video than it is to edit the really long one that I had before. There's something really annoying about this video that I'm trying to do as well, and that's the fact that the document I want to talk about for some reason is not loading properly. Like, how useful. But anyway, what I want to talk about in this video is the fact that Warhammer Legends has just come out. If you go onto the homepage of Games Workshop now, they've even got, or at least they did this morning, a little banner. Here we go, Warhammer Legends. Really, this is something that I'm so pleased has come out because I made a video quite a while ago. In fact, wow, 7 months ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago. But I was complaining about the fact that we used to have all of these Scroll Compendiums. Like this one here, quick Google search made it easy to find, but this was the Skaven one. And I think it was, yeah, there we go, 34 pages. And the thing that was amazing about this is it had all of the War Scrolls for the characters from Warhammer Fantasy so that you could use them in Age of Sigmar. Some of them were quite basic and there wasn't that much difference between them and the ones that are just generic sort of leaders or equivalents in Age of Sigmar already. Like this one here, Queek, he's basically very similar to a Skaven warlord, but they had these funny little quirks that just made them unique and worth taking from more a narrative point than a gameplay point, but it was still really, really cool. And I loved that document, and they decided to update it, and they absolutely annihilated all of the characters. Like, they just completely took them out and said, yeah, just use them as Skaven warlords instead. Basically, everyone who absolutely loved Warhammer Fantasy got completely pushed aside, and they were told that all of the models they had were now just proxies, basically. And that's understandably very frustrating. It annoyed me. I wasn't happy with it. I made a video lamenting over the loss of all my favourite Skaven characters from Warhammer Fantasy, and it just didn't make sense because Warhammer Fantasy is an amazing narrative. It's got great characters. There's so many epic battles and backstory. Like, the backstory at the moment for Fantasy is even better than Age of Sigmar. If you love the story of Age of Sigmar, the story of Fantasy was just better at the moment. Like, Age of Sigmar has the potential, but it just doesn't have the decades worth of passion and thought and lore and backstories that Fantasy did. But yeah, a few months ago, I think this was an article actually from March for Adepticon. Yeah, there we go, March Adepticon. They decided to announce this thing right at the bottom, which was Warhammer Legends. And I've had my eye on this ever since, but I didn't want to talk about it until there was a bit of an update. And that update came the other day when they said, oh yeah, by the way, we've got all of these made-to-order kits coming out from Warhammer Fantasy. So what Warhammer Legends is basically for 1 week, and 1 week only, they're going to do some made-to-order, highly limited runs of some fantasy characters. So for example, if you never got yourself a Morathi, the classic version from Fantasy where she's riding her Pegasus, you can now get that model. And this has gone up today, so you're literally going to have until the 12th to order one of these, and then when they're gone, that's it. They're never going to be on sale again from Games Workshop. Because they're made to order and highly limited, you're going to have to wait 35 days for them to arrive, which if you really love these characters, that's not really a particularly big issue. Personally, if it was me, I'd rather just go on eBay and buy the metal out of production versions. But some of those are actually very hard to come across and they've become very collectible, which means they can be quite expensive. So this can definitely be your better option. The thing that I'm more excited about is the fact that we've got the War Scrolls again. So if we download Morathis, for example, here we go. We have a War Scroll. Does it have keywords? Yeah, it's got keywords and everything. And it's completely updated for Age of Sigmar. I don't know if all of these War Scrolls are pretty much the same as the ones that were in the compendiums, but at least they've gone from these kind of really blank white ones that look like they put no effort into them to ones that actually look nice and decent and completely up to date. What I don't want to do in this video is basically go through all of these War Scrolls and say whether I think they're good or not, because, you know, that would take ages and that's not really the point of what I want to talk about. But what I will do is leave a link for this Warhammer community page in the description of this video. It basically is going to be a continually updated place to find all of the updated War Scrolls for your characters and armies from Warhammer Fantasy. Like, some of you may be thinking like, what's the point? I don't care about this, and that's fine. This article is not for you. But if you absolutely loved Warhammer Warhammer Fantasy like I do, and as I said, I'm continuing to like it more and more all the time, especially with Vermintide 2 and Total War Warhammer 2 coming out recently. It just feels like too good a narrative for Games Workshop to just completely destroy. There's characters there that Age of Sigmar doesn't have, like not even close to the depth of some of these characters. I'm not going to start a huge debate in this video over whether Age of Sigmar has good characters, because it does have some good characters, but they don't hold a candle to the best of fantasy. Like really, as I'm someone who loves Age of Sigmar, and I can say that with complete honesty, they're not as good at the moment. Maybe when it's had more time to develop, I don't know, we will see. But there's a bit of a cautionary tale that comes with this page here as well. We've got the Dark Elves update here, and they've even spelt it the correct way, so I'm guessing this is not to do with some weird copyright issue as people were talking about. But the cautionary tale is the fact that they've kind of created this document, which is absolutely great, but they've kind of said, yeah, for the people who wanted it, we've made it, and we're never going to update it, and we don't really care about it anymore. We're just dumping it on here, and that's the end of it. It says here, the rules presented are designed to be definitive. They're only going to be updated when we change the core mechanics of Age of Sigmar. And that's actually interesting, because if you read into that sentence a little bit, it makes me think that maybe a second edition of Age of Sigmar is on the way, because it doesn't say if we change the core mechanics, it says when we change the core mechanics. But the downside is that they're not going to include matched play points. They're not designed for that. And I think that is a real shame, because if we learn anything from the release of Age of Sigmar, is that it's very difficult to have games where people feel like it's totally fair on each side. Granted, if you're playing a narrative battle, you don't really care. Like, the whole storyline could be that you've got Marathi trying to escape from a whole horde of Skaven that have captured her, maybe Queek Headtaker has tracked her down, and the whole point is she's vastly outnumbered, and there's an objective that is based around her winning, and that's that she has to survive maybe 3 turns or something like that. If you're a narrative player, this is absolutely for you, and it's fantastic. If you're a matched play person, it's a bit of a shame we don't have any points. But either way, I'm actually really pleased they've done this. I like the fact at the bottom here, they've said that if you like the sound of Dark Elves, or you loved them in the past, then the closest equivalent to them now is the Ideneth Deepkin. I'm surprised they didn't mention the Daughters of Cain, because they're kind of similar too, but hey ho. This is the document, and as I said at the beginning, it's not really loading properly. It's being an absolute pain in the backside. It loaded fine on my phone, and it actually is really good. Like, I'm impressed with it. They give you a tiny bit of backstory. You know, the backstory for fantasy, it's all out there. It's very easy to find. And then you get a little bit of information about the fact that you can replay the games from fantasy using the Age of Sigmar rules, which is really cool. And then after that, you get straight into the War Scrolls, and they kick things off with Malekith. And then I think the next one is Hellebrand, or maybe Marathi. I don't know, it's not loading, but there we go, Hellebrand. But as I said, I'm not gonna like try and load this all up, because it's being very weird on the computer for some reason at the moment. But it's a 40, what does it say in the corner there? 42 pages. And it's completely updated for Age of Sigmar. I don't think there's really anything else I need to say about this, apart from the fact I'm very pleased they've done it. I think it's a slightly missed opportunity, because personally I would have liked for them to have brought this to Age of Sigmar as a supplement with a proper like thick rule book, all of the War Scrolls kind of included in there, like those big Grand Alliance books. And with a point system, I probably would have preferred that for sure. But hey, at least they've done it. I don't know if I'm ever going to even need to make another video on this topic, because I don't really know if it needs too much more discussing, but I am interested to see what you guys think about it. As I said, I'll leave the link of this in the description of the video, so as it gets updated, you know, you can find all of the PDF files here for the different armies. If you're watching this a long time in the future, this is made on day 1, so at the moment obviously it's just got the Dark Elves. But yeah, let me know if you are really excited for Warhammer Legends. Let me know if this does alleviate the annoyance of having all of these characters written out of the game a little bit. I know there are still a lot of you guys that are unhappy about it, and I totally understand, and to be honest, I'm completely with you guys. The story was too good to write off, and all of these models that you've spent all of these decades collecting, all of these characters who you've absolutely loved for years, there was no reason to just completely wipe them out of the game and cut all the support. I understand why they're releasing these for a short period of time. I don't think Games Workshop should have to sell every model they've ever made forever. That would be an unreasonable expectation, but but I think in terms of keeping the rules there for the people who have collected these for decades, I think they should definitely do that, and I'm glad they have. But anyway, thank you so much for all the support I've been getting recently. I think there we go, 6,600 subscribers. It's absolutely crazy. I'm basically just looking forward to more news coming out and topics I can discuss that aren't to do with the Deepkin, because as much as I love them, it's all the news we've had for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you know, I'm collecting them now, but not everyone wants to hear about the Deepkin all the time. Not everyone wants to collect them. Not everyone even likes them. So hopefully at some point there's going to be some more updates coming to Age of Sigmar, because I love making these news videos. I love discussing them, giving my thoughts on them, and then I can kind of hear what you guys think in the comments, so that's really cool. But recently, to be honest, on Warhammer Community, all we have had is 40k stuff after 40k stuff, and it makes me think maybe I should take more of an interest in that and maybe like cover some of that news too. But then I know there's a lot of channels who already do that, and I'm not that knowledgeable about 40k at the moment, so I don't know, I guess it could be like a learning journey of me going through 40k, and at some point I want to make a video on 40k anyway, because I've started my side project of orcs, which I'm absolutely loving. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for all your support. Don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and hit the little bell icon so you know when my videos come out, and I will see you guys really soon.